minutes into that. So, cruising as we know it was started by a man named Albert Ballin, and in the late 1800s, he saw that people were boarding these ocean liners that were primarily used to transfer cargo, food, sometimes people, but not necessarily as much. But he saw that people were boarding these ships and going from point A to point B and back to point A, which was not their intended purpose. So he asked, like, why are you doing that? And they said they just loved being out on the open ocean. That was enough to draw them to have them board these ships, not necessarily meant for people, or at least for a luxurious, enjoyable experience on board. That was enough to get them to sail. So he really took this idea and like ran with it. He created the first cruise line that we know of, called the Hamburg America Line. And eventually Disney has a place here in 1998 when the Magic set sail. The idea of Disney Cruise Line had been percolating for a little bit there, but the Magic did set sail in 1998, soon followed by the Wonder. And then about a decade later, the Dream comes along, and our sister ship, the Fantasy. And now we have the Wish, recently sailing a couple months ago. Very exciting, sure. And recently announced the Treasure as well. So we're just growing and growing, and we'll have one more for the series of 3. So far we've just had 2 sister ships. We dipped our toes in cruising before the Magic as well. We had a partnership with this cruise line colloquially known as the Big Red Boat, where it was like a Disney cruise, where these Disney characters that we know and love, they were on the ship. People loved it. It was a great success. Paired with the fact that Disney knew they could do it better, so therefore we created our own. It was definitely acceptable enough. But when we had our own cruise line, we could control the food. We could control like the walls being painted whenever we wanted, you know, stuff like that, like keeping everything up to the Disney standard.
Alrighty, so welcome to Remy. Looking at Disney storytelling throughout this, right? So clearly this is an adults-only space. This is the most elevated dining experience we have on board, but we still want that Disney magic to be sprinkled throughout your experience here, but not like slapping you across the face. Let's point out some little Remy's here. My favorite being this glass Remy here, welcoming you in with his big spoon, of course. And then on the booth here, all of this fabric, you have Remy's face right here, and then his brother Emil's body there. They're facing each other, and of course a little R for Remy. And even on the walls, this one here, there's a giant brass Remy. You can see his eye, mouth, and nose. And there's one behind us as well, a little more interpretive. I can point it out for you. Just gonna weave through here. You have a little nose here, smile, eye, and ear. And really what you see is the restaurant. There's a little room back there that has about 4 to 6 more tables, but this really is what you see. So it's a very intimate dining experience, also very exclusive as well, as you have to book this in addition to your rotational restaurants here on board. But they also have special dessert tastings, wine, cheese pairings, like they offer stuff that aren't just full meals here as well. This is one of my favorite spaces. This is inspired by Gusteau's restaurant. So you have the cheese in the carpet. And then in the movie, Gusteau's restaurant was inspired by a theater. So that is why you have all the chandeliers and the red velvet spread throughout. Someone asked earlier what these little stools were that were next to all the tables. Remember, this is a very fancy restaurant, right? So when you have a nice bag or maybe a chapeau or something you wouldn't want to dare touch the floor, you put that on this little stool here, or just like your phone as well. This back mural here with this view of Paris, of course inspired by real life Paris and the movie as well, when Remy says that he wants to be able to see Gusteau's restaurant from his own restaurant. So just across the river here under the Eiffel Tower, you can see the Gusteau sign there. So I think Remy would be very happy with the view he has from his little restaurant here. It is said for a restaurant to be truly of the highest class, and I believe possibly a standard for a Michelin star as well, is that you have to be able to see into the kitchen. So we're on a cruise ship, right? So like configuration-wise, that just wasn't in the cards. But to allude to that, we have this beautiful painting here. I know, it looks like a picture of a painting of the kitchen from the movie Ratatouille. Hopefully everyone follow this in here. We have made our way into Hollow. So
Apollo exists on every Disney Cruise Line ship. It's been reimagined for the Wish to be more of like a steakhouse vibe, but the name Apollo is very important and just the tradition that comes along with this restaurant. So it is an Italian restaurant, as you can tell by the decor. Italian is not a random choice either. It's not just because Americans love Italian. But we actually have our roots in Italy as a cruise line. So both the Magic and the Wonder were constructed in a shipyard in Venice, Italy. So to pay homage to that, that is why we have Apollo across the whole fleet. Starting with the Magic and the Wonder. And then both the Dream and the Fantasy have the addition of Remy as well. You are greeted with muted tones of the Italian flag in this little entryway here. And that continues its way throughout the entire restaurant. Once again, not like slapping you across the face with it, but really just using it to inspire a lot of the color palettes as we make our way through the restaurant. We also have this beautiful hand-blown glass structure here. Does it remind anyone of anything? It can be a little on the nose, as this is an Italian restaurant.
Wine models.
That's a good guess.
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti! Yes, spaghetti. On the nose. But spaghetti and meatballs nonetheless. Once again, to let you know, if you choose, wine pairing could be a big part of your experience here. This one has all of the wine bottles in little leather satchels that are meant to look like gondolas. And then you have these handlebars meant to open the wine cabinets there, right? Does anyone know what those are called? I've said it as we've been saying.
Hollows.
They're hollows, exactly.
Oh.
Hollows are the pools in Venice, Italy that gondoliers tie their gondolas to. The only thing between deck 5 and deck 11 are staterooms, right? There's no restaurants, there's no kids club, nothing like that. So Imagineers thought that if anyone along that stairwell were to feel ambitious to want to take the stairs, possibly it would be first thing in the morning, right? You haven't had any food yet, you're making your way up to your first buffet of the day. You thought, hey, I'll take the stairs. So what they wanted to do was slowly awaken your senses as you make your way up, starting with concept art and ending with fully formed images. And then a moment about carpet. This carpet here, all yellow, is for the aft stairway. So if you get a little confused as to what side of the ship you're on, yellow is aft. And then blue and red are midship and forward. I believe blue is midship, but you can verify that for me. But we are here in the Oceaneers Club offerings. The Oceaneers Lab is over off to this side, and there's a hallway known as the workshop along the back that connects the two over. Currently with the door closed right now because they are having toddler time in there is Andy's room. And then this room is Disney Infinity, an outdated video game. And then over here we have the Hollow where Isabel and all of her friends live. And in the Millennium Falcon, this is here before Galaxy's Edge. So this is one of the first places you can sit and control the Millennium Falcon. It doesn't work the same as the ride. We're just admiring you behind walls. You've been learning so much about the history of the these are all a bunch of Disney characters as different stars.
Just
You're already see after all. How fun. But I hope we got pictures. That's a great picture of Mickey with Wolf behind him. I love that. Anyway, I'm right here to one of my favorite spots. One thing I really like about the 4 classic ships, if you will, as they will come to be known as, the Magic, Wonder, Dream, and Fantasy, is like we talked about throughout this whole tour, they're inspired by classic ocean liners. And I think this section of the ship really harkens in on that, just with the color palette of the wood here, all of these light boxes, that's a very classic style of design. Even as simple as the fonts on all of the stores here, this really looks like the golden age of sailing. It's a thing that a lot of newer cruise ships just don't focus on as much, and I love that our first 4 ships really tune in on that, because I think that's really cool. Even just with the marble work here, it is gorgeous. One of my favorite moments is to be on the open deck
of a great ocean liner overlooking the great ocean on a star-filled night. That is as close to magic as we'll ever get. So I will leave you with that. This has been the Art of the Theme Show Tour. My name's Rebecca. If you enjoy, I'll be sticking around if anyone has any questions. Yeah, thank you so much for joining.
Oh, welcome. Come closer. Gather round. Don't be afraid. I am the caretaker. You're all here to see the pumpkin tree, right? I mean, you do know what a pumpkin tree is, don't you? Why? This is a pumpkin tree. It is a very special kind of tree. You see, it blooms only one night of the year. On Halloween! But it isn't quite finished yet. It's still missing something. We need to wake it up. And to wake it up, we must create some perfect spooky atmosphere. The best way to do this is to tell a story. A ghost story! One cold October night, a certain Dutchman named Ichabod Crane was heading towards his home in a hollow nearby. His path led next to the old, sleepy hollow cemetery. At midnight, Ichabod came within sight of the graveyard. It was a dark night, with no moon. The light shone from his lantern. The Dutchman was very nervous about crossing the cemetery, remembering the rumors of a ghastly ghost that he had heard. He stumbled along, whistling to himself, trying to keep his courage. Suddenly, Ichabod's eye was caught by a mysterious light rising from the ground in the cemetery. He stopped, his heart pounding with fear. Before his startled eyes, a white mist burst forth from an unmarked grave, forming a large horse who was carrying a headless rider. The Dutchman let out a terrifying scream. The horse that told him had pulled him out. He took forth his heels, running as fast as he could, and he told the bridge as he knew that ghost and evil spirited impaired to cross running water. He turned, and he saw a horseman who launched a great flaming pumpkin towards him. Ichabod was never seen again. The headless horseman continues to roam the roads near Chinatown on dark nights. From that day to this. But, luckily for us, he can't swim. Or can he? Spirit of the pumpkin tree, the biggest we have ever seen. Wake up and talk to us. It's time for Halloween. I want you all to say, wake up. Listen now, wake up. Even I can't do it.
With my fresh faces and innocent eyes, you are all here for fun and surprise. Happy Halloween!
Come on.